Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Ducks. I'm a very frustrated Duck fan. They fired Bruce Boudreau after last season. This guy is a magnificent regular season coach. He gets his teams out there. The Ducks would get out there every year, and they'd start off 20-2, and come the end of the season, the fourth quarter, the finish line, they'd stumble and stagger and collapse. And the last 4 years, they've gone out of the playoffs, losing Game 7, whatever series it was, at home. And one was against your boys.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2012-13, they were first. They lost in the quarterfinals 4-3 to Detroit. Every situation's been the same. They had a 3-2 lead going back to Detroit, lost Game 6 at Detroit, came home and lost Game 7. Same thing in 13-14. That was the year they lost the Kings. They beat Dallas 4-2. They were up on the Kings 3-2. Lost Game 6 in LA, Game 7 in Anaheim. Last year, or in 14-15, they beat Winnipeg 4-0, Calgary 4-1, and then lost Chicago 4-3. And last year they went out in the first round. They had a 3-2 lead over Nashville, 4-3. I don't understand. They say that you coach differently in the playoffs. Obviously you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bruce Boudreau's been a very successful regular season coach. But in the playoffs, in 8 years, he has 0 cups. In Washington, which was where he was before he came to the Ducks, twice he lost Game 7 in the quarters. Once he lost Game 7 in the semis. He's never gotten to the finals. And the same thing happened this year. Minnesota got off strong. Now they've lost 3 in a row as the season gets down to the 75th game. So I don't know what if he wears his guys out before it's before the playoffs, or what the deal is. But they Kings. I mean the Lakers fired a very successful coach in Bruce Boudreau, but the general manager just couldn't handle losing Game 7s at home. And like I say, the Kings took him out that 1 year, and that wasn't even a game. I mean, that wasn't even a game. So I'm just frustrated, been frustrated by what's happened over the last 4 years, and I'm hoping they're playing well now. I think they're 9-1-1 in their last 11 games, close to that, and they're right there in the mix for the Pacific Division again. I'm just hoping that this year, finally, eventually, they're peaking at the beginning of the season, because they got off to a slow start. They stumbled out of the block. They were
right.
500, win 1, lose 1,
right.
And they finally come to the point now where they're playing very well. I'm just hoping that's a good sign going into the playoffs.
It's not how you start; it's how you finish.
That's
John.
right. And they're doing great, and maybe coaching was the difference. Randy Carlisle is the guy now, and he's got them playing well. He's got them, playing at the top of their game. Some of it is also that former King Jonathan Bernier has been the goalie since Gibson got hurt. So Bernier has been in every one of those games this month, 9-1-1. Gibson looks like he's going to be coming back, and clearly they're going to need him in the nets for the playoffs. The playoffs are a grind, and just as the Penguins proved last year, if you've got a goalie standing on his head, you can win. Yeah. You can win the Stanley Cup, even if you're playing a better team. Yeah. With Bernier, who's been playing great in the pipes, and Gibson back, who should be back and will get a few games under his belt before the playoffs. Maybe things are going to be different. The Ducks are number 1 penalty kill in the Western Conference. That's number 4 penalty kill in the NHL. They're number 2 in goals allowed in the Western Conference, number 4 in goals allowed in the NHL. It's a good team. They need to take care of their business at home, which they've been doing this year. In the playoffs, they need to do it. But their record on the road is pedestrian. They're 15-7 on the road, and that doesn't bode well in the playoffs. But if they can get that top spot in the Pacific, get some home games, somebody knocks off, the Blackhawks or Minnesota,
right?
Then the Ducks, maybe this is their year.
Yeah, picking up Patrick Eves from the
I
Stars.
love him.
Yeah.
You know, I watched him as
I love him.
I watched him his first game, in town and against Toronto, and he scored a goal that night, and he's been a complete shot in the arm.
Oh, he's been terrific.
He's just and that's it's amazing how one guy can infuse or inject energy to a club, and and again that hopefully they can the Ducks can parlay that into a great streak, a great stretch. Getting, you said 4 years of game sevens, man. I mean, that in itself, though, that's got to be a good thing too, though. I mean, from the standpoint of, nobody likes to lose in game seven. Somebody has to, but they're getting there. Last year, it was heartbreaking because, again, when you the way they're battling, and so hopefully this year they can turn the corner and get it done.
Getzlaff has finally come to life here in the second half. He and Perry were both non-existent pretty much.
Silverberg's picked it up too. I think he's
Silverberg's having a terrific year.
Yep.
So is Rich Reichel.
Mm-hmm.
But Eves with Getzlaff, it makes a huge difference on that line. That's the difference for them. Clearly the Ducks can't rely on Corey Perry, or as my friend likes to call him, Katy Perry, the way he plays sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, peel off the pantyhose, Corey. I think they look good. They keep it up. They win the Pacific. They can clinch at least tonight with any kind of win.
They got 4 tough games coming up in Canada.
Any kind of win, they can clinch. Or if the Kings lose, any kind of loss from the Kings, they clinch it.